Bossing, skilling, guides. Hey guys, what is up? It is Scuzzy. Welcome to another video. This one is going to be a little bit different because it is on something that just came into the game, but I want to give you a feel for what I know about the boss so far. So this boss is, I think, level 7,000, and Jagex not requires, but recommends to have between 5 to 7 people. A lot of people are having a difficult time at this boss, myself included, and I find it much easier to go in a mass of around 20 to 30 people to understand what the mechanics are, and hopefully watching this quick and little guide thing, it's not going to be in depth or anything. I'm just going to talk about some of the mechanics in the order that they happen, will help you get your first kill for completion escape. That's pretty much the goal of this video here. So when you go into the fight, there's a little orb spinning around of some divine energy, red energy. Don't touch it. That's what starts the fight. That's what starts the encounter. And unlike Yakamaru, where if you don't have, let's say you have 9 out of 10 players, or let's say you have 10 players but only 9 of them are in the instance, you can't actually start the fight. You'll be able to start the fight, as far as I'm aware of, even if all your teammates are not there, so make sure your teammates are there. So the boss fight, how it sort of should look like after I've been doing it for about 10 hours. There's 4 different quadrants. If you don't know what a quadrant is, there's the square in the just where the area is. You got the corner, the top left corner we'll call the northwest quadrant, and the top right corner we'll call the northeast quadrant, and so on and so forth. So there's 4 quadrants. That's what quad means. That means 4. So there's 4 little pieces in this square that are made up of smaller squares. Now, these are going to be important because on the first phase, NEX will say a text and she will face a certain direction. When she does that, that is going to be the direction you don't want to stand in that quadrant. When she comes back down after she's jumped, a Blood Reaver will spawn in each of the quadrants except for the one that she's looking at, and she will siphon off of the pillar that's in the corner of the direction she's facing. If someone is in that area, you will take 3.5 Ks at least 3 times, and as far as I know, you can't actually negate those, but you can minimize damage that you take with reflect. So if you do get caught up in there, I recommend you use resonance, and then after that you use reflect, and it's pretty much required to have a shield at this fight. I mean, it's not required, but it's almost a must-have. It's a very recommendation, a very highly recommended thing. So you need to kill these 3 Blood Reavers, so it's good to have as many people in each of the quadrants split up pretty evenly. If you're good at damaging per second, then all you need to do is stun the Blood Reaver, as with your stun rotations. If you don't know what a stun rotation is, that would be like impact, then using rack, then deep impact rack, then asphyxiate, and then wild magic. That should kill the Blood Reaver like on a solo, but in most cases you're probably using other abilities as well, and there'll probably be other people with you as well, especially if you're in a learner team. Just make sure those Blood Reavers don't reach NEX. So there's going to be one base tank in the middle, which will drag NEX, to the quadrant that didn't have the Blood Reaver, while each of your quadrants Blood Reavers get stunned and killed. That's part of phase 1. The second part of phase 1, after a couple more auto attacks, she will say something about shadow beneath me, I think, or something like that, and you'll see on the screen, I don't know if it's lined up perfectly, but there'll be red bombs or red like missile type things falling from the sky, and if you're standing in the spot as it's ticked, as it hits on that tick, you will get dealt a 3.5k. So you need to move, and that happens either 3 or 4 times depending on, I don't know what it depends on, but for me it's always been 3 times. I've seen other people take 4 times, and maybe a couple people take 5 times. Just make sure that you're constantly moving. The best way to negate this is to walk 1 square away from you and then walk in a square pattern. So it'll take care of the bombs. We're calling them red bombs, and those stay in that area. And basically you want to make sure that you weren't standing there when they were thrown, and you don't stand there after they've been thrown, because it will still do a 3.5k to you. As long as you avoid those little bombs and those little, landmines, then it's kind of like Nomad's fight. As long as you avoid them, you'll be all right. So she'll go back and forth between those a couple of times. And this is really not a short guide, is it? The next step in the next phase is there'll be 4 crystals that spawn. If you move yourself outside of the ring while they spawn, you won't get hit the damage that you would have gotten dealt if you were close to the crystals. And you need to kill these crystals, all 4 of them, as soon as possible, because if you don't, the minions that spawn next will have full HP. If you do kill these crystals, they'll spawn at half HP, which is 150,000 each. Once that happens, you got to pretty much kill the 4 mage minions in sequential order, because later on in the fight it will determine which pillars you have to kill first. So if you kill, let's say, the southeast quadrant, you'll want to kill the northeast, then the northwest, then the southwest, just to make it's easier for yourselves, just so you can run from corner to corner to corner later on in the kill. Once you get the minions down, then she'll go into the next phase, which is either smoke or ice. If it's ice, it will imprison someone, and I believe you can attack. If you're the one that's imprisoned, you can attack the ice crystal, but other people will attack the ice crystal as well to free you. That's not really much of a danger. There's also an ice blast that goes across the room like Vindicta, so just get out of the way of that. Otherwise, you'll take mage damage every tick, which is insane, and a lot of people die from it. So just make sure you move away from that. And then the other mechanic she has is the smoke mechanic part of the phase, where she will spawn a smoke, kind of like an aura, and it'll move around, and then eventually it'll turn into like this nebula, purple nebula looking thing. And basically what you got to do is don't touch it, but everybody in your team except for the base tank needs to go stand next to it, and you'll all take a damage of, I believe, it was a 1 hit if you touch it by one person, but if you have your whole team, it was like a 1.7k. So I think it's like a 15k hit or something, and it's spread amongst everyone who's in the vicinity of this cloud. And those rotations keep going back and forth until you get NEX down to 600,000 life points. From there, it's up to the base tank to drag to drag NEX away from the corner that you should be killing NEX. So the base tank will just go through his or her defensive abilities, and pretty much at that point, your defensive abilities won't get reset. So it's easy for you to not use any food. I've done it, and I'm not even a tank. So it should be pretty simple. You just gotta switch between resonance, preparation, anticipation, barricade, reflect, devotion, pretty much all of the defensive abilities, and you should stay afloat. And so at this point, like I said, the base tank is going to drag NEX away from everyone, so they should not be getting hit by NEX at that point, because they won't be in range of her mage attacks or her melee attacks. So There's a couple of things you gotta keep in mind here. Basic idea is whatever minion you killed first. Let's say you killed the northeast minion, which is the ice minion, I believe is the ice minion. You will go to the northeast quadrant corner, and you will deal damage to the pillar there. It has 200,000 health. Basically, just do thresholds, whatever, and do your normal standard DPS rotation. But one person is going to get what's called marked. They're going to get a little red thing in the middle of their screen saying NEX has marked you. And what you need to do is you need to run into the middle where there's a, what is it called? A shield dome looking thing. And you need to stay in there until your adrenaline bar, which is you have your adrenaline bar, but there's going to be a second adrenaline bar, and you need to be in that shield dome once it gets to its full 100%. And then after that, it's going to fill up again. And basically, if you're not in that shield dome, you'll get insta killed. So you need to stay in the shield dome for at least that part, and then you got to run out and go towards the wall, or a wall that none of your DPS are going to go to afterwards. So I would suggest, let's say if you're at the northeast quadrant, you would go to the very, very north middle and wait for your adrenaline bar, your bar underneath the adrenaline bar, to go all the way to 100% again. And what that does is it drops a nuke at the spot that you had the 100% adrenaline on that secondary bar. And basically, you never want to go into those. If you go into it, it's constant 3000s. You want to make sure that nobody ever goes in those. So you want to place it in a place where nobody's going to go. You know what I'm saying? So that's one mechanic, and that's going to alternate between different people throughout this phase as you kill the the pillars themselves. So there's one more mechanic that happens where you get a virus put on you. It says NEX has put a virus on you, and pretty much, as far as I know, almost everybody in the team will get this. And what you need to do is just run around. You don't have to do anything special, but you need to make sure that you're not standing in one spot, because it's sort of like the NEX shadow phase, where if you're standing on a shadow, you'll get hit a high hit. So as long as you're moving around, you should be totally fine. That does limit you to not being able to use asphyxiate, but use asphyxiate when you don't have the virus on you, and you should be good. And once that's done, you've gone through all of the pillars. It'll rotate through all of that stuff until all the pillars are done. NEX will pretty much be untouchable at this point until the pillars are killed. And then once the pillars are killed, you want to make it to the point where your base tank's not moving. At this point, you don't have, I don't think you have viruses anymore. I don't know 100% on that, actually. But at this point, the base tank usually gets the marked symbol. So he or she has to run to the middle, wait for it to get to 100% adrenaline, and then the shield dome will take care of that, and then run away where none of the DPS are going to be for when the nuke comes, as well as on that ability. So at this point, there's no other new mechanics. Your DPS are just gonna DPS the crap out of the boss, and your base tank is gonna pretty much stay in the same spot and rotate through their defensive abilities and not really even need food if they know how to do the defensive ability rotation. And that's pretty much the fight. So I hope that clarifies or helps you guys a little bit. Like I said, probably the best way to do it is go to a 20-30 person mass and just watch this guide while you're doing it, or watch this guide before. So yeah, this is just a quick and little guide for you, and I hope you enjoyed. So I will see you tomorrow for another video. Peace. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great day. Follow me on social media and subscribe for more. Peace.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day.